Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Heaven on Earth Astrology. I'm Michael, the Leo Mystic. This is where we're going to dive deep into the meaning of the full moon total lunar eclipse in Scorpio on the 16th of May, 6:13 a.m. in the morning. If you're in Belgium, Spain, 5:13 in England. And honestly, this is going to be one that we're going to remember. It is a very intense. It is a full moon in its fall position. Moon in Scorpio does not like Scorpio because the moon likes comfort. The moon loves to be in a safe space. And Scorpio is none of that. Scorpio is let's transform, let's dive deep into the dark here. This is where our karma is stored. This is where we have shared goods with other people, where we have houses and cars and monies and investments and sexual intimacy that is about opening up to others. This is where we store all our fears, our anger. And that's why I think it's going to be the best full moon ever. And because of other stuff that I'm going to be talking about that I know because I've done my research. I've looked at other astrologers' forecasts, and there are some things that they're not talking about that I think are key. By the way, if you want to be notified, hit that subscribe button and let me know how you're anticipating to the full moon in Scorpio. And by the way, thank you to my man Mika, I don't know how to pronounce your name, brother, Angelo, for asking the question to do a video on the full moon in Scorpio. It is because of your input that I know what you want to see more of, and I'm here to help you, to guide you, to make content that you prefer to consume. So let's dive right in right now. This full moon, a full moon is always, a highlight of emotions. And emotions is how we experience life and how our soul is storing the information. So whenever there are heightened emotions is when we act more instinctively, when we act more emotionally, not really here in the ratio. And it is bringing light too. Full moon is always a kind of a light to the past, how we deal with Scorpio energy, which is about the fears and, where we hide things and where we have secrets, but also where there is darkness, there's power, there's Kundalini force. So where we know deep down inside that we have so much potential. Now, this full moon in Scorpio is on the south node. And the south node, and I'm being bitten by mosquitoes the whole time right now. So the full moon in Scorpio is on the south node. The south node is our past karma. So this has the potential to bring up and illuminate all of our past doings where Saturn square we might not have taken our responsibility. We'll bring it up to the surface. And, when Moon and Saturn are involved, that is really our structure, how we have built our safety, what we think that our safety is, what we think where we feel comfortable, but it isn't. Where we might have not taken our responsibility when it comes down to investments, when it comes down to opening up and being honest and being real, and where we have, in a relationship, a certain kind of, investment in keeping up appearances and not telling the truth to that person. And that, all of that is intensifying. But also the moments where you have gone too far. Scorpio is where we go too far, because it has Martian energy. It's got desire energy, like very instinctual energy. So all of that is rising to the surface. And I think that's a good thing, because it is only when you look at that you can illuminate it. And there's aspects happening. What's happening with Pluto? Pluto is in, because it's the ruler of Scorpio, Pluto's in Capricorn, the patriarchy, institutions. So there's a lot of lies that are going to be exposed. There's a lot of, wrongdoings of the government, authorities, people in authority, the patriarchy, the father, parenting, adulthood, where we are not mature. That is going to be coming up, and where we'll actually see, maybe stuff that happened around the whole, 19 and the media or big tech trying to dominate and control, that is maybe like rising to the surface again. But now we're seeing it. We're like, it is being exposed big time. And Pluto in Capricorn is like destroying that. So this is a lot about our leadership and about our authority ourselves, where we take the leadership. But again, Saturn is squaring that nodal axis, which is the pressuring, like the pressure cooking of our karma, of our emotional growth. And it is like, cataclysmically rising that to the surface. So with Uranus involved, that is that cataclysmic too, very sudden disruptive energy, where we have all the energy of disruption, of instant change. Now, we have the moon in Scorpio on the south node, but it's sextiling Neptune and Mars in Pisces. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that's a good thing, where we're being invited to incorporate spirit, incorporate our spiritual practice, incorporate compassion, incorporate prayer, incorporate blessings. It's a superior trine over to Mars and Neptune. So there's an ability to emotionally, when we allow ourselves to step into a moment, Moon in Scorpio is quite courageous. So it's, not all fear, and it's also where we are courageous, where we have that level of intensity and can say, you know what? Okay, fuck it. I'm just going to do it. With a sextile over to Neptune, there's this healing, mystical component to it. And like I said, this is ability to exert a certain kind of courage over that Mars in Pisces. So there's like a surrender that can come from ourselves, from a courageous aspect. Like, you know what? I have the courage to fully lose control. Now, Neptune also builds illusions and, makes people kind of like disappear in the background. And I don't mean that literally. I mean like, just, we can tend to forget. We can tend to like not see exactly what the truth is here, is what I'm saying. Because it is the moon in Scorpio sextiling Neptune, and moon in Scorpio is in fall. So we can tend to like, okay, you know what? I don't really want to see it maybe. But that's what I'm saying. is when we consciously keep our eyes opening, at least we can attempt, we can intent, we can have that intention, we can set that intention to do so, because that's the 5D potential. It doesn't have to be a 3D reality. How, when astrology says something, that's how it's going to be. We can change that. I truly believe that. Now, all of that too is like, we have to work with that, to let it go, to release the fear, to look at it and illuminate that power that is Pluto in Capricorn, is trining the sun, which that potential power that we can illuminate in our leadership and the patriarchal transformation that is happening, there is a potential to use our sun in Taurus energy, which is grounding, which is building gradually, steadily. North Node, our future, Uranus, a new future for a new Earth. But even though the sun in Taurus is our creative potential, that energy of its host, Venus, is in its fall position as well, in its detriment position in Aries. On Chiron, I mean, that is a wound. That is truly having to experience an awkwardness in relationships and initiating things. So we are initiating new relationships. We are initiating new projects. We are initiating a new form of self-love. We are initiating new material, practical things that we're not sure about, and that we're just doing. And honestly, Mars, it's how we are doing that, is in Pisces, which is really not a good position. I mean, it's not the worst, but it's not a good position to be, because it's on Neptune. So it cannot do things differently than trust and having faith. And this could be blind faith. Neptune is illusions, as I said. And that's why that moon in Scorpio kind of is like, okay, you know what? I have to have the courage here to investigate, to explore, to look for that truth. Sun in Taurus is plant medicine. I'm not saying you should go take plant medicine, and that is a huge range, but I think it can help. I think grounding can help. I think really working on your Taurian things, such as sustainability, such as appreciation, such as being here, being now, such as taking care of your environment, and really work with what you have. And that's what I've been saying in all my forecasts. That's what the sun in Taurus on the North Node is. It's very close to the North Node. It just passed it, but Uranus is there. So this is really our choices that we make, our priorities. What does belong here? And Scorpio, full moon Scorpio on the South Node says, what does not belong here? And it's an investigation that we consciously have to do, but that is not that's not easy to tap into as much, because Venus is in Aries on Chiron, and Mars is in Pisces. It's so awkward. We're not sure whether that's gonna go as we like, and there's confusion. There's confusion about what we have to do, who we have to bond with, and what is truly valuable, and whether this is valuable. There's a sense, but there's in a background, because of Venus in Aries and Mars in Pisces, a self-doubt is what I'm saying. And maybe that's the thing that we have to explore. Now, Mercury's retrograde, which is another aspect of confusion and getting lost, and another reason why I'm saying that we have to consciously go into an investigation, into a questioning, but not necessarily rational, because Mercury is retrograde in Gemini. This is, I would say, going and do fire rituals, sacred cacao ceremonies, maybe ayahuasca, maybe shrooms. I'm not saying, you should go do that. You have to decide that for yourself and feel. But I think when Sun is in Taurus on the North Node in Uranus, this is kind of like new inventions and new ways of doing things in your surroundings and using your physical body. There's a saving grace. And that is Jupiter in Aries. Jupiter in Aries currently is not as crazy wild going because Mars is still in Pisces. Whilst that could lead to a certain kind of chasing blind, blind faith and illusions and religious wars, I think what this Jupiter in Aries is doing, just look at the aspects. Semi-square Uranus. This is, how am I proceeding? How am I taking action? What are my choices to improve my environment here? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. Am I, with the situation that currently is going down in the world, how are my individual choices and how do they have an impact squaring Saturn in Aquarius? How do they have an impact on my current environment, on myself, and on the people around me for a new earth, for a better earth? Can we proceed like this? Can we really do that? That's on a global level, but for yourself, what am I chasing illusions? And what choices can I make to sustain myself, to appreciate that I show that I appreciate my environment, which is the ultimate best prayer that you can do. To show your self-love, to feel the love, and in that loving emotional expression, being in the here and now, being in the moment. Like, for instance, if it is gardening, it's gardening. If it is taking care of the trees around you here, it's that. But what are you doing that is loving for yourself, where you show, damn, I love this. This is, where I can show myself that I appreciate myself and my environment, and it makes the world around me better, because Mercury is retrograde in Gemini. That is reflecting on how it is impacting its environment, and that is reflecting on how it goes through an air sign into Taurus, an earth sign, how my thoughts, my prayers are impacting matter. My words, what words am I speaking? Do I say stuff like fuck and I'm never gonna make it, and what if this, what if that, like the what ifs. When you, like, Neptune is union, is source, is God, is Mars on there. This is acting out of a spiritual trust, of prayer, of true prayer, of understanding that time is not necessarily linear alone, but that it is vertical, and that there are ultimate potentials, being able, that you now more than ever have the ability to tap in all those potentials. That's what that trine or that sextile of the moon in Scorpio is saying. And Jupiter, here's a saving grace. Jupiter septile the North Node. Jupiter in Aries, which is hope, faith. It's it. Jupiter in Aries is a new hope. It's a new way of believing, a new way of exploring. And when you have that belief, because when you have that belief of that it is possible, that you love yourself, that you show that you are whole with that Neptunian energy, and you are taking care of your environment, you are here and now, for instance, gardening, and you are doing everything to, embellish yourself and your environment, your inner nourishing, then, my friends, there's a new belief that can sprout from that is a self-trust, that you can trust your gut instinct, you can trust yourself, that you can impact your environment, that you can do this together. Saturn in Aquarius. What rises from that peace, that love, that knowing, that reflection that you do, that courage that you take to improve yourself and your environment? What gut instinct rises from that pure potential? That is going to Septile North Node. It's fated. There are teachers or beliefs that will help you live your purpose, your North Node in Taurus, that will give you peace, sustainability, even more, that will help you make the right choices. What a beautiful full moon in Scorpio this is going to be when you do that, when you allow to step into an unknown, into a fear that you cast a light on and you see it for what it is, because you have the courage, because you know Source is in the mix. Jupiter in Aries has the potential to channel a gut instinct. And Venus in Chiron, even though it's an awkwardness, can heal the wound of action taking with other people. There's a weird balancing of the masculine and feminine that can happen in that moment, because that's what's happening. Mars in Pisces is very feminine, and that's impotency. Venus on Chiron, that's not good in Aries. And I hope that the wind is, not too much in the microphone. So I guess that means it's time to almost end. Let me just tell you that you have that potential, that potential is there, but that there's a fear that has to be faced and a courage to work with it. There's a surrendering required on your part. A faith that comes from a knowing, a deep inner knowing, because you are Sun in Taurus, living it day by day. You know your self-worth, and from there, that Venus in Aries can have a new beginning, a new self-worth. And with that, I think we've pretty much touched on every planet. We've talked about the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Chiron. That's it. It's a wrap. Here's to a beautiful full moon in Scorpio. Download the PDF for free, or choose to support me. It's your choice. But all is there with the right questions for you to ask, the best questions for you to ask for this full moon in Scorpio. A meditation, things to do, mantras, all so that you are supported in embracing this energy. Let me know in the comments what you think. Much love. Sat Nam. Take care.